Hey guys, Jim here with the Creative Playing Podcast Network, and as you can see, I got my hands on a copy of Daggerheart. So I just wanted to do a really quick opening and unboxing for you guys to show you what Daggerheart looks like if you buy the standard edition over at your local brick and mortar store. So it comes in a very cool box, which contains both the book and the cards. Let's see here, trying to shake the camera. As you can see, we got the book and the cards. Now, you can get the SRD online for free, as well as the ability to print all the cards at Daggerheart's website or over at Darrington Press. The artwork, however, is not on those cards, and the artwork, by the way, is beautiful. Just gonna say, we're gonna totally do a page-by-page flip through, but this is just gonna be a quick unboxing because tomorrow, for June 21st, which is Free RPG Day, I'm gonna be running a Learn to Play for Daggerheart. Basically, a quick little 4-hour adventure for folks to learn how to play Daggerheart, giving basically a nice little run through of the pre-gen characters that you can get on the website, and a little run through of how exactly you can use the cool Rolling with Hope and Fear system, which is a beautiful D12, a pair of D12s. One is your Hope dice, one is your Fear dice. It's very reminiscent to rolling your gold dice and your red dice in Star Wars or Genesis. That's how I've totally sold it on a bunch of my gamer friends. Guys, it's some of the best RPG rules we've seen borrowed from RPGs made in the last decade. We're going to put that right there, because we want to open up the beautiful cards. Wow, apparently I did it upside down. Ooh, I like the Spirit Stag. And I've already bought some card holders to make sure I can put all of these in. So the cards are used for your character generation. You have your Ancestry, which is going to be who and what your people are that you come from. Basic stuff that we definitely will recognize from other RPGs. Humans, elves, frog folk, bull folk, constructs, which can be either magical constructs, like say a druid made a construct out of stone and wood, or perhaps a machine man made by something, who knows what. Then you pick your community you came from, which is a highborn, a lowborn, possibly a wild person from the wildlands. Let's get this little situated. Darrington Press has been sold out for this book quite some time now. Daggerheart team, ha ha ha, the Darrington Press team. I love the artwork style. It's got a very manga-ish versus fantasy feel. The Golden Rule. And as I said, if you go to their website for Daggerheart, they have all of the cards you saw in there, all for print on demand if you want, just to go ahead and download the PDF and print it. The only thing the cards lack is the artwork, which we got to pay the artist for stuff like this. So we've got, and we're going to totally do a Kelly and I taking turns making characters, but they've got the classes that start so far, and they always are experimenting in the vault on the website, which is sort of like the old D&D's experimental system they had over on D&D Beyond. We've got, each class has 2 subclasses. So we've got the Bard, which is the Troubadour or the Wordsmith, the Druid, which is the Warden of the Elements or Warden of Renewal, the Guardian, which is the Steward or Vengeance. So you can have your Paladin of goodness or scariness. The Ranger, who's a member of the Beast Bond, which, by the way, having pet class and Ranger right now kicks ass in this setting, just gonna say. Then we've got the Wayfinder for the Ranger. Then for the Rogue, we've got the Nightwalker and the Syndicate Road. If you want to be one of those city rogues that's part of a mastermind of a group, that's the Syndicate. We've got the Seraph, which is very divine angelic. We've got the Winged Sentinel or the Wielder of Light. Sorcerer, we've got Elemental Origin or Primal Origin. You know there's going to be more of these coming. The Warrior, which has Call of the Brave or Call of the Slayer. So tanky, DPSy. Then for the Wizard, we've got the School of Knowledge or the School of War. So we've got I know things, and I probably drink, or I am a warcaster who will dominate the battlefield. For the Heritage, we've got a whole lot to pick from. We've got the Clanks, we've got the Furbolg, Human, Draconia, which is your Dragonborn, the Fungirl, which is your fungus, the Infernus, which a lot of D&D players remember as the Tiefling, the Dwarf, the Galapa, which is a turtle race, which I could totally see bending that to not just have the Galapagos-style tortoises, but also snapping turtles. Then we've got the Qatari, which is your catfolk. And the way the system works, you can totally blend two races together to get the top card ability of one and the bottom card of another. So you can totally make more human-like catfolk, so you can have more of a Kitsune type. You've got your elf, your giant, your orc, your fairy, which are very insectoid, which are cool, your goblin, your ribbit, which is the frog folk, your fawns, your halflings, and your sima, which are very simian, very ape and monkey-like. The one thing that might confuse a lot of players is we're going down in this system for Daggerheart to more of a Power by the Apocalypse style skill system, where these are your main attributes. And when you make your character, you're going to be +2 in one, +1 in another, +1 in another, 0, 0, and a -1 in your 6 attributes, which are agility, which you're using for sprint, leap, or maneuver, strength, which is lift, smash, or grapple, finesse, which is control, hide, or tinker, also could be used for disguise too, instinct, which is perception, sense, or navigate, presence, which is charm, perform, or deceive, and knowledge, which is recall, analysis, and comprehend. And then you basically will pick which stats go into which. Once you've done that, you can of course add what they call a expertise for your background, which gives you additional abilities. Starting equipment is really simple to pick from. It gives you just a basic list to pick from. If you print up the PDF of the character sheets, it actually has each class on their own character sheet, sort of like a Power by the Apocalypse playbook. And on page 2 is here, pick one of these weapons as your primary, one of these as your secondary, and here's equipment you can pick. Once you've picked your experiences, which is basically your background. So it could be ship hand for a pirate, or navigator for a pirate. Or if you're a city guard, it could be Sentinel of Observation, +2. So you can spend a hope to get a +2 to your roll, which is nice. Speaking of your rolls, the Hope Fear system rolls 2d12. You add them together and you tell the GM which one is higher, which is the hope or the fear. So they basically will create a meta economy of fear for your GM and hope for yourself. Players can each get 6 hope. GMs can build up a massive pool of up to 12. It's used kind of like in Star Wars and Genesis, like destiny points or story points. There's some things, though, that the GM has to have fear points to do. So you definitely want to make sure that you have, just a few of those saved up. Like I said, the character sheets are great because when you print it up, it has a lot of your things like your class's ability. Then it has a beautiful character building guide and a level up guide on the character sheet. So your playbook, boom, has exactly what you need. Also, when you print up your character sheet, there's a guide page that you slide in halfway through here, and the arrows will explain this side, and when you slide it in this way, it explains this side, which is great for teaching new players. I'll definitely show you the character sheets a little while. Plus, if you decide to multi-class when you level up, there's a third page for your multi-class that slides in right here and has half of what the new multi-class will give to you in addition to your other abilities, which is really, really a love letter for the players. Here are your domains. Basically, every career is based on 2 of these domains on this beautiful page. And just to give you an idea, like the Druid is your primal, or sorry, Sage, and over here is the Arcana. Your Ranger shares Sage and Bone, which is blood and bone basically for fighting. And as you can see, each of the careers shares one ability group with the other. So these guys will be sharing cards for each of these domains. And the artwork, again, like I said, is fantastic. We're going to flip through some quickness here. I totally want to make an Infernus Bard. That's what I'm wanting to make. The Druid, the character sheet comes with the beast that you will shapeshift into on the character sheet, which is beautiful. Chef's kiss to that. So that way when you shapeshift, you have all the information you need. Like I said, the Ranger has, this is the one for your companion. It has this mark, so you can slide this right into your regular character sheet. And it gives you all you need right there on the character sheet. And you can print these PDFs for free off the website. I just like the frogs. They're awesome. You can totally see a water frog. And they do a beautiful way of showing the different, uniqueness to the different abilities. Clanks integrating, sort of like another RPG we know of where you have constructs that do that. And one thing, like I said, they give the basic rules if you want to blend 2 ancestries together. Like one I've hinted at is the fungal, which is the fungus folk, mixed with a turtle folk, and call it the spore shell. And they basically have a giant mushroom growing on their soft shell back instead of their hard back. Totally might look like Bulbasaur, but I'm just throwing that out there. And again, I love the artwork in here because it gives many, many examples. They have made a interesting takeoff on the Furbolg, the turtle folk. Halflings and humans. Convenient that they're together. Then we have the Infernus and the Katari. So you got your devil people and your kitty people. And I love how they give you a range of here's how your Infernus can look. For Katari. So they could be any gradation of catfolk. And then we have the orcs. Orcs come in different fashions and styles. And then we've got the frog people. I will totally make a tribe of barbarian frog ribbits called the Poison Spear Tip tribe. And they all look like bright, beautiful frog people. Yeah, see, they give you some examples here. So this is my first time looking through the book with the pictures. We have an Infernus ribbit mix, so a demonic frog. Then we've got a fungal Galapagos. Okay. Shroom shell. They've already decided to come up with that idea. I like it. And then we've got the fairy simian. So a little fairy monkey, fairy lemur type of thing. Then you've got your community, which you're either highborn, lowborn, orderborn. So it could be you were brought up in a communal that's very orderly. Ridgeborn, which means you lived in the mountains. Seaborn, which means you're water folk. I love the island with the ship on the tip. Slyborn, which means you lived in the darkness. And then Underborn, for those that want to be in the Underdark. Wonderborn and Wildborn, for those that live in nature. I love how the SRD almost has all of these, but not yet. And then there's additional abilities. And then playing the adventure. One thing that a lot of people coming from D&D and Pathfinder are going to have some issues with are the fact that this plays more like a Powered by the Apocalypse game, where the players share the spotlight. So instead of rolling initiative, GM will set the scene and say, is anyone jumping to action? If somebody jumps to action, boom, they get the spotlight and they do their thing. On their turn, they'll take their turn, they'll make their moves, they'll do things in combat or just a skill check. And then once they've done a good chunk of stuff, the spotlight will either go to the next player, which the players get to pick popcorn style who goes first because of the spotlight. Unless someone rolls with fear, then the GM can choose to step in and take a turn, which is always great because you can still succeed in this game system. The mechanic has you roll 2d12, add them together, and it's either hope high or fear high. If it's fear high, the GM gets a fear point, or he can use it to interrupt and take an action. So if you're fighting, all of a sudden the bad guys take the initiative. And then it goes to the next player unless the GM spends some of his mechanic pool of fear to keep doing things. Duality dice, I think, are a really good way of having, like a lot like Star Wars had, success and fail, advantage, threat. Hope and fear give you that advantage threat field. The nice thing is, when you do hope for a player, you can store up to 6. So unlike in Star Wars, where you have to spend that advantage right then and there, here you can actually hold on to that advantage and save it for later, which is nice. Because there's a lot of really cool mechanics like tag team, where 2 people can roll both their skills, decide which one to use, the better of the 2, and then the 2 work together. And say if it's an attack they're tag teaming on, they both roll damage if they succeed, and they add the damage together. So it's this cool Marvel team up, boom, 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 jumping on the bad guy. Interesting thing in health points and damage is gone are the days of you take 5 points of damage, you lose 5 hit points. Here, characters have a certain number of hit point boxes. And you have your damage thresholds. So here, just to give you an idea, the minor damage is 1 box. So every time you get minor damage, which is less than 8, you scratch 1 box off. So you can die of 1,000 cuts if someone comes up and goes snicker, 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 snick with a knife. But if it's 8 points or more, you take major damage, which marks off 2 hit point boxes, which you notice like here, there's only 6, right? Oh, this one's got 7. Must be a character that's got some cool stuff giving him an extra one, because usually everybody I thought had 6. If it's major damage, which is between 8 and 15 is regular major damage. But if you take severe damage, which is a roll of 16 damage, you then mark off 3 boxes. Which one nice thing about this is it means that most players are not getting one-shotted. There is a rule, if you there's an optional rule, if you take like redonkulous damage, yes, you just die. But most players will not die in a one-shot, which is really nice here, even if it's rolled really well. By the way, that's another good one for the team up, so you can do big crunchy numbers to help whittle bad guys down. And then you have stress, which I love as a feature they add. Kind of comes from, I think, Dragonbane, where you have stress for when you use magic abilities. And other super, super sneaky abilities, the card will say mark 1 stress and do blah, 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 which is really nice. However, you don't want to run out of stress, because then you start taking hit point damage instead of stress. That's a very bad thing. The nice thing is, here's the massive damage rule. The nice thing is when you take a short or long rest, you can actually recover some of your abilities. So, character traits, we have extra dice modifiers. One nice thing here is when you roll with advantage, it's more like Genesis Star Wars, where you get to roll a d6 and add that instead of having 2d20 and you get the better of the 2. So it actually is giving you as a player more of a boost, because it's more like bardic inspiration. Disadvantage is you roll a d6 and you negate it. So I always recommend that you're going to want to have your standard polyhedral set, a light and dark d12, and a light and dark d6 to use for advantage or disadvantage. And this is one of those narrative story first games, so make sure it's not the ROLL roleplay, it's more of the ROLE, and then the rules support the fiction, which I like. Domain cards, when you use an ability later on in higher levels, you can use the recall cost to make it back into play after you've spent it. Some of the abilities are like the old 4th edition where it's an encounter power, a daily power, or whatnot. You have different conditions, which basically the big ones are hidden for disappearing, restrained, and vulnerable. Anytime you are vulnerable, everyone attacking you has advantage. It's basically a catch-all for poison, stun, all of those type of things in old like D&D. Vulnerable just means that you at the moment are not up to snuff. Then the big thing I really love is gold has been simplified a lot like Blades in the Dark, where you have simple coin. So in this case, you have handfuls of coin, bags of coin, and chests of coin, and it's in denomination of 10. So 10 coin equals, 10 handfuls equals 1 bag, and 10 bags equals a chest. But as I was saying, downtime, for a short rest, you have limited options. So it's not like D&D where you take a rest and boom, everything resets. You can choose to tend to wounds to get 1d4 plus your tier back in hit points. You can choose to clear a stress, which is equal to 1d4 plus your tier. You can choose to repair armor. I forgot to mention, by the way, in this system, when you take damage, you can actually opt to have the armor chip away, a lot like Dragonbane, where the armor takes half the damage, reducing the severity of the attack. So if you say burn 2 armor, your armor might be falling apart, but now you're taking no damage. And then you can do prepare, which is basically you and one other player decide, hey, we're going to just hang out, have a moment, talk about it. And yes, it does ask you to describe it. And you both get 2 hope. So you can basically bank some hope in advance if you're not wounded or damaged. On a long rest, you get to tend all wounds. You can choose, now remember, it's one of these you pick from each of these. You can clear all stress. You can repair all armor. You can prepare, which you and a buddy talk and you get 2 hope, or you can work on a project, which is something to help in the long run. So then we have level advancement. It's a milestone style leveling where the GM will tell you when you guys level, which is really cool because it makes players stop saying, did we get enough experience to boom, boom, boom. So, and as you see, the weapons here, by the way, are by tier. So your first tier characters are going to get these as their weapon options. And as they level, as you can see, weapons and things get badder and badder as you level. And then there's plenty of tables for magic loot. Don't think that you're ever going to get shortchanged for magic loot because it's all about that. And then we do get some, is this the beginning of the campaign frames? Oh, no, this is the GM section with a whole bunch of cool GM tips. But they actually include, instead of a setting, something they call campaign frames, which is basically a pitch for the campaign. And each campaign frame has a certain special rule set, by the way. You totally get 2 bookmarks in Daggerheart colors, gold and purple. Big fan of that. And then comes the bestiary. In the system, I love they've introduced minions again, which go down without too much fuss when you hit them, but they still get to do some cool stuff. And in here, they order it differently than if you downloaded the PDF. They kind of put them all just as these box frames. Here, they give you a lot more breakdown as well as the game mechanics behind them. So you've got solo monsters, social encounters, and in the monster stats, it will tell you the difficulty. So like here for the Cult Adept, its difficulty is 14. So that's, if you meet 14, you hit them or you beat them socially. So all the difficulty for them, sort of like in Numenera, is a set static number. Unless one of their cool features changes that up. And I will just quickly go through this. And we have an environment, so it's basically plug and play set pieces that you can use that gives you certain rules for certain ideas. And here's the campaign frames. Yeah, it gives you the pitch, foundation, guide for characters, and then a bit of a map. Like the Witherwild is one where nature's corrupted, like a Princess Mononoke. And it gives you breakdown on different types to be like here. The clanks are going to be more nature made, like golems. We've got the 5 banners burning, which is a very Game of Thrones style where you choose which faction you're joining. Beast Feast, which is one that I want to both run in and play because it's basically delicious in dungeons. So I'm very curious on the special rules they're going to have on how we break down getting the goody goodies. And the additional items you notice they'll give you is the Beast Feast starting equipment. Things for cooking your food. As you can see, there's special stuff just for that, but here's the different items. All about making food from the monsters. Totally sick and twisted, but totally amazing, just gonna say. That's the one that I'm most interested in playing. This is the one that Critical Role is playing right now. This is their current campaign. And I will definitely do like a spotlight on each campaign frame just to let people see them. But I'm going to be going just with the basic one that they give a free campaign setting in the PDFs. And that's the one I'm using. It's basically Giant Mystical Forest. Then they give you some interesting optional rules. That's for the very cyberpunk one. Then we have Colossus of the Drylands, which is very... the game Colossus, where you climb on top of the monsters and you destroy pieces of them at a time to take the beast down, because it's basically a mountain-sized beast that you'll be climbing on top of as the itty bitty little specks. And it's a very Western feel. Oh yeah, just a mechanical train. Oh, that's Poi the Sky Skimmer. So as you can see, these are giant monstrosities that you have to take out. And they add some extra abilities that have more of a local taste for it, which is nice. Oh, we're getting to the end. Oh, we're already at page 333. And here's where you get the Druid's extra transformations. Then we get maps for the different settings. And a beautiful index. We're talking 363. So 3 pages of index, and then of course the beautiful page and the back. So this is a quick 30-minute or less review of Daggerheart. We're going to give it a learn to play tomorrow and let you guys know what's going on. And don't forget, June the 21st is free RPG day, so go to your local brick and mortar. They might have some cool swag. I'm going to do a little Twitch in a little bit saying, hey, go to your local brick and mortar, and here's why. And maybe if I got a time, I'll give a little bit of a review of what items they have at the free RPG day. But again, guys, if you liked this, do me a favor, please comment, even if it's just a thumbs up, a thumbs down in the comments, something to let us know that you're out there. And if you are interested, hit us up on Patreon at patreon.com/cppn. We are doing plenty of campaigns right now, and I am looking to see if folks are interested in doing a start playing or Roll20 for Daggerheart, because I have not purchased the Roll20 for it. I'm basically looking for interest. If you are interested, let me know, and we can get on Roll20 and play some Daggerheart if you're not in Tucson. Alrighty, guys, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, and again, June 21st, free RPG day. If your local brick and mortar isn't doing it, let them know about it in April next year so they can sign up for the kit to make sure they got it in their game store and that you're interested, because the big thing is let them know that you're interested. Alrighty, guys, thank you for listening. Bye.